Hi everyone, welcome to this video. Thank you for joining me. I will be doing a pick a card reading today for the broken-hearted. So you can choose your pile or crystal or deck, whatever, which means you use to choose. And you can use the timestamps to go to the reading of your choice. If you do enjoy these readings and want to help me keep doing these, please consider a donation. That really helps me keep going. And you can also like, share, comment and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell in order to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Now let's get started. So let's get started with the first choice, which was the pink andara and this deck. So let me see what we have for this reading. Let me lay out the cards for a minute. Alright, now let's see. The first card, which represents you, is the Ace of Wands. And the second card that represents your partner in this situation is the Strength card. Now this tells me that you most likely had a very passionate relationship, but your partner is quite headstrong and you are quite passionate, sometimes a bit too much, too energetic. And therefore sometimes you clash with each other because you're both very fiery and passionate types. You might get in each other's way, and of the two of you, your partner or ex-partner is the most headstrong. So if you are using force and a lot of energy, your partner is most likely not really cooperative with you in this situation. I see how the two of you have a lot in common, and that's most likely what brought you two together. But the dynamics between this is either passionate love or passionate arguments. And your partner is also quite headstrong, and the tactics to deal with your partner is not to force yourself, but be gentle and kind of flexible in your approach. Now, a wand is not very flexible. A wand is just there. It is energy. It's raw energy. It can go any way. It needs to be directed. It needs to be guided and controlled. And if that is something that you had trouble with, that might be a dynamic in this relationship what caused a lot of arguments. Now, what happened? We find the Sun. I believe that the dynamic I just described came to the surface and it came to light. It was like both of you discovered that this is how you interact with each other. It is also again another fiery card. So again, there's a lot of heat, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of energy. Warmth can become unpleasantly hot if there's too much of it, and we've already seen 3 very fiery cards. So there's extreme amounts of energy and passion, and that can easily go awry. Now, yeah, there is a situation here. Your lesson is the Knight of Swords, which means that, especially if we see this card in combination with this Ace of Wands, which represents you, it means that you may be a bit too overbearing, a bit too enthusiastic. Maybe you want it too fast, too much. You may have been a bit pushy, may have been a bit too determined to get what you want out of this relationship. And that can easily go awry. Now, if I look at the card, what they left unsaid, that is the Ten of Swords. They may not have actually told you that they were going to leave the relationship. It seems to me that they just left. They ghosted you. That is, well, I think personally very impolite. But it is apparently very difficult to tell people that you are no longer interested in pursuing a common goal together. So they are gone, and they are definitely gone. They are not coming back. But they never actually broke up with you. They never came to you or even messaged you or something like that to tell you that they were going to end the relationship. They just ghosted you. They just left. Now, what to do and what not to do. What not to do is the Three of Swords. This is quite, well, you know, of course, if a relationship ends, it gives you a broken heart. Of course, it makes you extremely sad. So, but this is telling me not to linger in it, not to dwell in it. Just, you know, you acknowledge the pain, but don't linger in it. Don't get into the victim role. There is not really a bad guy in this situation, or a bad girl for that matter, because of the dynamics between the two of you. This relationship did not have a good chance of being successful. It is something that you have learned about yourself, how you react to certain people, and how that can turn out in these circumstances. Now, the advice, what you should do, is the Four of Swords. What you should do is just take it slow. Take some time for yourself. Don't beat yourself around over the head with all sorts of things. This is something that it's a learning opportunity about how you interact with certain people, how that dynamic works. And what you should do is just try to recuperate, get some peace of mind again, and heal yourself and heal this broken heart in this situation. Now, the outcome, the near future, this may be a potential partner. This can also be a good friend or someone who's a bit older than you that can offer you a good advice in this situation. However, this is a very sensitive, understanding person. He's a bit older than you. He's an extremely good listener. He is very kind-hearted, very understanding, and he's a very good advisor when it comes to especially situations regarding broken hearts. So this person may come into your life, or they may already be there, whether they are a good friend, a therapist even, or maybe they are your potential new partner. If they are, remember that you have this inkling, this fiery inkling, and the King of Swords may be in the long term able to extinguish your fire, because the king is the highest of the royals. They are very strong, and an Ace of Wands is the lowest of the suits, so they could easily be overbearing for you and extinguish your passion. So that is something to remind yourself of if you are considering a relationship with this person. Now, I hope this was of some guidance to you and it gave you some answers, and I wish you an amazing day. Be blessed. Bye. For those of you who chose the second option, this purple andara and this deck, I will go to your reading. Now, what is going on here is quite curious. Let me go through the cards and see if it resonates with you. This card represents you. It's the Nine of Wands. This tells me you had trust issues. You have been wounded in the past. You've been hurt. You've been maybe even really did wrong. And it's very difficult for you to get over this pain that actually stems from the past. But it makes it that you have a lot of trouble trusting people. And this card is your partner, and she is the Empress. So I wonder, if I continue on with this reading, it will be clear to you that I am very curious what happened here, because it seems that you are the one who broke off this relationship. This Empress is very nurturing. She's very caring, very empathic, very feminine. She's very creative. She's very soft like a woman. She's really feminine and very kind and understanding. She's nurturing. She's the person that can grow everything in their surroundings and make it bloom and blossom. But somehow you had a lot of trouble getting over this distrust situation. The two of you were actually building on something. The two of you were actually building up something very beautiful, something bigger than the two of you together. But what happened? Well, this happened. This is your lesson, and we find the Ten of Swords, and this tells me, especially in combination with this Nine of Wands, is that you are the one who broke this relationship off. But it still hurts you, it still breaks your heart, and I wonder what happened here, because was it too difficult, possibly, for you to get over the wounds of your past and the distrust in order to trust in this giving nature of the Empress, of the person that you were actually building something with? Maybe you got scared of commitment. Maybe, you know, it seems like at the last minute you backed out. And I cannot really say from these cards how far you were into this relationship, but the Three of Coins tells me that you were building on something. So it may not have been a very long relationship, or it may not have actually been a relationship. It could be just that the two of you were very much interested in each other, but at the last moment you backed out and decided not to continue. Now, what your partner left unsaid was the Wheel of Fortune. This is about destiny. This is about fate. This is about timing. This is about the revolving of the wheel, where things that are on top will go down and things that are down will go back up. It's usually a sign of good luck, of good fate, of things changing for the better. So I am positive that your partner, or at least whoever represents this Empress, was able to get you out of that distrust. But I don't think she or he ever got the chance to tell you this. So this has been left unsaid. There's definitely a destiny vibe here, especially if I look at the other cards, the advice what you should not do. We find the Magician here. The Magician is the one who manipulates their environment in order to create whatever they want to create. It means that you are the master of the four elements. This also is about not having a very direct approach. It is also about manifesting things, but not in a direct manner, but manipulative, or maybe even actually using magic or manipulative ways in order to get what you want anyway. Maybe this was one of the things that you asserted in the relationship with this person. Maybe you were a bit afraid to just be direct and speak your mind, and you resorted to manipulative methods in order to get her, or this Empress, which is very feminine. It can be a man, but it is then a very feminine man, but usually this is a woman, very much a woman. And maybe you manipulated her, maybe you even strang her along a bit, and at the last minute you backed out, which is very, very, I think it's very sad, because if I look at these cards, it wasn't necessary. There was something beautiful being built. There was definitely a feeling of destiny or fate involved, and also the things were going to get better. But I feel that somehow it freaked you out, and all you could do was, you were too afraid to start something new, and therefore you broke off the situation. What you should do is the 8 of Coins. This is about working hard. This is about actually putting in the work to make things right, or to set things right, especially if you did not do this because you wanted to do it. It seems to me that you broke this relation off not because you wanted to, but you were either afraid or scared, or there was this, maybe you got cold feet or something like that. You all of a sudden got scared about starting something new and backed out, because maybe you feel safer in whatever you have right now. Maybe it's a bit difficult for you to step out of your comfort zone. And it seems to me like that was the issue, because all the cards are so beautiful, except for the cards that were about you. They were about apprehension, being hurt, and expecting the worst, distrust, and ending. But you can still make it right, and if you still have feelings for this person, you can still put in the effort, if you want that. And if you do, the near future is looking great. We have the Star, which is an inspiring card. It's the card of hope for the future. It is also the card that follows after the Tower, and the Tower is the destruction of built structures that you rely upon, and when these fall away, then all of a sudden you are naked. Now this card doesn't show it in that way, but most of the more traditional decks show a naked woman pouring water out of chalices or cups onto the ground and into the water. And that is a sign of being vulnerable, but also having hope for the future and reaching for the stars. Quite literally, you will be able to see the stars, but you can only see them at night. So this also speaks of having to go through a darker period in order to be able to see the specks of light that represent this hope for the future. Not all is lost. You can still get back together if you do put in the work and can reassure the other person that you are definitely wanting to build a future with them. Again, don't be manipulative. Don't string them along, and but just be honest and dependable, and just put in the work if you want to. Not all is lost, very clearly. I do hope, however, that you will be able to overcome these fears and these anxieties that have been pushing you into breaking this, in my opinion, beautiful thing off. So I hope this gave you some insights and some answers, and I wish you the very, very best. Bye! So welcome to your reading. This is the reading for the clear andara and this deck. And let's get started with your reading. What happened here? I wonder. First off, don't be scared. This card represents you. It is the Devil card. This card means that you are stuck in negative thought patterns or even behavior patterns. You feel helpless. You feel, and this usually has its origins in your past. Maybe you grew up in a very unstable household, or maybe you were abused as a child. But you feel very, very helpless, very, very unsafe, very at the mercy of other people. It seems that you are overly dependent on most likely on other people, or even you might have trouble with addictions or substance abuse of any kind. That can range from heroin to chocolate. But anyway, if you feel that you need things outside of yourself to fill up a certain hole or a certain helplessness, and that is the underlying issue that is possibly ruining your potential and your chances in relationships as well. Your partner, it has the Ace of Pentacles. Your partner was seriously invested in you, and they were very much interested in offering you a very tangible relationship. It could have been a gift, but it can also be much broader than that, and just a very serious relationship with the two of you, maybe even starting a family. They were quite serious about you. And what happened between the two of you, it was very difficult to harmonize the two of you, especially since you were dealing with these toxic energies that have gotten into your system, into your thought patterns, and possibly into your actions as well. So whatever your partner was trying to build was not in the same, if one of these horses is your partner and the other one is you, it becomes clear that the two of you need to be looking at each other and knowing which direction to go together. But as you can see, these horses, they are not quite looking eye to eye. They want to go different directions. So it was very difficult to figure out what direction the two of you would like to go. And I am sure that you didn't make it easy on them as well. I don't mean this as an accusation of some sort, but it is an insight in the dynamic of your personality that makes it's sometimes difficult for other people to deal with you, and it also makes it difficult for yourself to deal with yourself. So I'm not trying to accuse you of being a bad person, but this is learned behavior. So it can be unlearned as well, and I feel that is the lesson. This deck is not showing it, but we have the Lover's card here, and if you look at the more traditional decks, and you put the Devil card and the Lover's card together, they are very, very similar. But the Devil card is the dark aspect of it, while the Lover's card is the lighter aspect of it. Both cards show a pair of humans, a man and a woman, together, and they are being brought together by this other entity. And in the Devil card, it is the devil who's tying those people and holding the reins as to control them. While in the Lover's card, there is this angel bringing these two people together in a sacred matrimony, a sacred relationship. It is the saying that what they usually say when people get married, what God has brought together should not be separated by man. That is exactly what this Lover's card is about. This is the dark aspect of the same principle, being tied, being stuck in a situation, opposed to being committed of your own free will, and then commit yourself to something or someone. So what you need to learn is to get out of this helplessness and see that once you learn to say no, your yeses become real yeses instead of yes because I don't want to say no. Because then you're actually saying no, and then you're ending up quite bitter, helpless. You feel at the mercy of the situation or the person that you said yes to. Things like that. It's a dynamic that you should go into. I do have another video on my channel about the dynamics of what it was, narcissism and codependency. I think you should look into this video to see what the dynamics is that you are dealing with in your personality. But the lesson for you is that you can overcome it. That was a long story for a few cards, but that's definitely the message. You can overcome it. And this is the card what your partner left unsaid. Your partner was there for you. You could have talked to your partner about this. What I just discussed with this Devil card, they would have understood. They would have been able to relate to that or to understand and to be of a good support to you. They would have been an excellent listener, and they might have be able to give you good advice. They might actually have been a good partner for you. But it was left unsaid. I cannot see in these cards exactly how you broke off, but it was left unsaid. They could have helped you out there. Now, what not to do? The Ace of Wands. Don't ignite the fire. Don't become enraged. Don't become vengeful. Don't feel like you need to assert your anger. And this card is very red and orange, which means that there's a lot of emotion, and the first two chakras, the root chakra and the sacral chakra, are very prominently in this card regarding the colors, which means that you should see if you can control your emotions and control your actions. Don't lash out to your partner because of not being able to see eye to eye and set a course for the two of you. There is no perpetrator here. There is even no victim here, even though you do feel like that. Then we have this card again. It makes you feel like you're a victim, but you are not. If you look at this character, it's not really focusing that well, but they are very loosely chained, And it's very easy, and it's even clearer in the traditional devil cards, that this person is very easily able to just take off these bounds and these shackles and free themselves. So there's no real victim here. There's a clash of personalities that were difficult to harmonize. But your partner was quite understanding. It might have worked. What you should do is understand how the result is a consequence of your actions. This is the Justice card. This is the card of karma. This is the card of you reap what you sow. This is the card of balancing out the scales. Try to find balance in yourself before you get into another relationship. That is what you should do. And understand that sometimes even things don't work out the way you want to. It doesn't mean that there are perpetrators and victims in the story. Maybe it's just not possible with the way the two of you were character-wise. So seek justice in yourself. Don't take revenge. Don't take it out on your partner. This is the potential. This is the outcome for the near future. We find the Empress. This is what you can be. If you manage to find the balance in yourself, you can become an Empress, the ultimate woman, the ultimate mother, the nurturer, the person that can make things grow even in the desert. This is the potential that you can unlock if you manage to turn this devil situation into a lover's situation. Find balance in yourself. You have this in you. It's a seed that can grow. And it does imply that there is work for you to do. You really need to look inside yourself and look at your motivations and why are you feeling the feelings that you have? Why are you having the thoughts that you have? Why do you believe that things will always turn out a certain way? Why don't you act? Why do you choose the way you choose? What is behind that? And see that it is about external factors creating this in your life, and then asserting your power, because most likely when these things were formed in your life, you didn't have power, but now you do. And now you can turn things into a sounding yes if you want to say yes, and a sounding no if you want to say no, instead of submitting you to every whim of the people around you, because you feel that you are helpless or not powerful enough. You don't need power. You need balance and self-respect. That's all you need. This is what I meant to show you when I said balance. So, there is a lot of work for you here, and maybe in the future you will be able to transform into this Empress. And boy, I can tell you, relationships are going to be much different then. So I hope this gave you some insights and answers, and I wish you the very, very best. Bye! Hi there, welcome to your reading. This is the reading for those of you who chose the Golden Andara and this deck. And let's go to your reading for the broken-hearted. Well, I've laid out the cards, and the first thing I see is that there may have been a situation of a relationship with a person who was already in another relationship. Let me get to this. The first card, this card represents you. It is the Page of Wands. This, especially in the light, I must show the other card as well. This is the card of the other person, and that is the Chariot. Now, if I see these cards together, I see a married person and a very attractive third party person. This person is definitely looking at that person. They are very interested. They may have even, cheated on their partner. Usually the Chariot means that someone is in a relationship, in a solid relationship, and there are two people in there, two horses that are going in a certain direction. And the Page of Wands is usually passion, but not very mature, which means that responsibilities are a quite difficult thing. So that dynamic shows me that we're dealing with a married person, and that is them, and you are the third party. You are the one that this person is cheating with. I'm not quite sure if you were aware of that or not, but it's definitely the thing that influenced your relationship, because if we look at what happened, we find the Ten of Wands. This situation is a burden, possibly for the both of you, but especially for the person who was married. They feel very burdened by this attraction, and it weighs heavy on them. It's a load that they wish they could put down, but the temptation might have been too big. And if I go to the lesson for you, we find the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is a clear sign about leaving a situation. This situation isn't going anywhere. This is not going to give you the 9 of 10 of Cups that you're looking for. It's going to be these 8 cups, and that's all there is. And it is about growing up, maturing, and understanding your own value and your own worth, and understanding that this is not a viable situation. This is not going to lead you anywhere, especially not to where you want to be. So the advice, the lesson you should learn is knowing when a situation doesn't have what you are looking for, and then being able to walk away from that situation. So if this relationship is still going, which may be, but in that case your broken heart is about the fact that they are married or committed to someone else, and they are not giving up their commitment. You remain in this situation where you are the third party, and it weighs heavy on the relationship. You both know this is not going to go anywhere. And therefore I think it's wise to follow the advice in this card, to understand that this is not fruitful, and just to walk away from it. What is left unsaid by them is the Page of Coins. I feel that they want to give you possibly the world or many things. They may have actual feelings for you, and they may be very generous, but also they are very responsible. They value their responsibilities higher than passion. They are the Pentacles. So it may have to do with whatever they build together with their partner. It may have to do with knowing that there is a commitment and a duty to take care of their relationship and their partner. So they know they slipped up but they want to come back to their responsibilities and stay with their partner, within their marriage. They have never expressed this to you. It has been left unsaid. You possibly were able to determine this from reading between the lines. But it's not going to change. This situation is not going to change in your favor. Now the advice, what not to do, we find the Two of Pentacles. Again, we find an advice of don't stick around in this situation. Leave. Don't do this. Don't perpetuate this third-party situation. You are not only compromising your own self-worth, but you're also compromising the relationship of the person that you are with. So it's about ending this third-party situation. Maybe you were on the fence. Should I stay? Should I go? Is he going to leave his wife? Or no, he's not. He's going to remain with her. Now, what you should do is the Ace of Wands. You should focus on yourself. Focus on your own growth, your own creativity, your own self-worth. The thing, build on yourself and just forget about relationships for a while. Just make sure you are happy with you. You are satisfied with how you look, how you feel, what you do, what your activities are, what your dreams are, the people you have around in your life. As long as you are happy with that, you begin to radiate something very much different, and it's going to be much harder to get stuck in these third-party situations, because then there's just too much self-respect for yourself. So if you find in that situation, if you build yourself up and someone who is married is coming after you, you are going to say, you know what? You can come back once you left your wife, but until then, you can forget it, because I know I'm worth much more than just be the side chick of some dude who's not choosing me, actually, because that is what we see here. We see the remaining of this third-party situation, the advice of leaving the third-party situation. The advice is definitely directed to you. Leave this situation, because they are going to ultimately choose their responsibilities, which lie within their relationship or marriage. So you choose for yourself and build on yourself and make it worthwhile for yourself. And it may take some time. The outcome for the near future is you are not going to have relationships for a while. And that is actually the advice about what you should do, is just focus on you for a moment and don't focus on anyone else. Let them walk to the moon or whatever, and just work on yourself and give yourself the time and the rest, and find your peace of mind to figure out who you are, what you feel you are worth, what your dreams are, what your desires are, instead of playing the role of a sidekick in the life of other people. And it may take some time, and just lay low for a while and take a rest. Take the time for yourself and heal from this, because the last thing I'm going to say is that situations like this usually stem from wounded people. This person is usually the wounded person, and they may, whatever motivates them to get involved with them. It may be a sense of protection, it may be a sense of adventure, it may be just the sexual attraction. There's many motivations, but the fact that you are putting up with that is a sign of hurt, a sign of wounds, and more specifically wounds in your self-respect and your own self-image, the way you look at yourself, what you think you are worth. So you also need to do some healing, and that is what this card also signifies. This is about healing yourself, giving yourself time and rest to recuperate and to find your own worth and to work on your own growth and your own development to become what you can be, because now you're only a page. You can still grow into a knight, you can grow into a queen or even a king of wands. There's still a lot of growth for you there. And if you take it, you take the time for yourself and you focus on yourself, you will attract better quality relationships. So I hope this gave you some insight and answers, and I wish you the very, very best. Bye!